You ready? Go ahead with your intro.
East.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to BSide. Before we begin, I want to give a quick shout out to our diamond sponsor, USAA, and St. Mary's for making this event possible. We are also referred for the support of Toyota Systems and Step Rocks. I'll turn my over to Garett. He will be discussing training isn't tapping hackers via Flipper Zero class for evil courts. As a first time. Please help me welcome here.
Thank you. Good morning, BSides San Antonio. I'm really grateful for this opportunity to be here with y'all. I've been to and spoken at multiple conferences, and I have to say I really dig the kind of intimate and family-friendly vibes that I can always count on here at my local BSides. On that note, I want to thank everyone who helped put this event together, the sponsors, organizers, and volunteers. So you applauded for me. Let's go ahead and give them a round of applause as well. So please pass that along. And we don't have a keynote where we get to do that, I think, so that's good. My presentation, as mentioned, is entitled "Training Isn't Enough: Hacking Hackers via Flipper Zero and Evil Portals." I'm Garett Myler. I'm the owner of Enclave Defense, and I moonlight as a cyber warfare operator with the Air Force Reserves. I specialize in cyber vulnerability and risk assessments, compliance, particularly within critical infrastructure, ICS, OT networks. So if you want to chat about hacking trains, that's kind of my specialty. That's kind of what I got started in. Feel free to chat me up later. But as much as I love what I do, what I'm most proud of is my beautiful wife, Julie, and our 5 children. Julie and my 2 oldest are actually here today for the first cyber conference ever. So welcome to them. Graydon's 12, Maisie's 10, and they're like, we homeschool, they're nerds. So I think they'll fit in. Julie is so supportive. She even joins me for our occasional Cyber Mylers podcast, where viewers get cybersecurity news from an analyst and a noob. And today is actually Julie's birthday, so happy birthday, Julie. Thanks for coming. Oh, lots of claps. Okay. All right, so let's do a quick introduction of the Flipper Zero. It's been around for almost 5 years now, so I'm sure many of you are familiar with it. But I want to make sure we're all on the same page. The Flipper Zero is basically like a Swiss Army knife of for wireless hacking, but it feels more like a Tamagotchi. Out of the box, it does near-field communication and RFID so that you can clone like your hotel room keys or your HOA pool key. It also has a sub-gigahertz radio for things like garage doors or even key fobs of older vehicles. Like my 2000, I have been able to successfully unlock my 2005 Ford Excursion. It is a four-wheel drive 6.0 liter turbo diesel in case anyone's into cars and trucks and cares. But it also, last but not least, it has infrared to control things like projectors or TVs. Use responsibly if you're at a bar. People are really into their football games, okay? But because it's fully open source and has GPIO pins, there's a great community, that provides a lot of hardware and software modules to greatly expand the Flipper Zero's capabilities, such as a Wi-Fi dev board that you can use to do evil portal attacks. But first, let's talk about Canada, Fun fact about me is that I lived in Ontario, Canada for a couple of years, and I sing the Canadian national anthem with more patriotism than most Canadians. Don't tempt me. America's Hat has a vibrant hacker community, and I had the pleasure of speaking at NorthSec in Montreal last year. And one thing I talked to them about, even though it wasn't my topic, you can see my topic was beware of InfoSec influencers, I kind of mentioned this, that the Canadian government was seriously considering for a while banning the Flipper Zero. Now, when I present, I like to encourage audience engagement. So I'll give $100,000 to whoever correctly answers my questions during this presentation. Does anyone know what was the primary catalyst of the Flip of Zero almost getting banned in Canada? Ooh, someone shouted out, but I'll go with the raise hand. Nope, nothing to do with Russia. Who said it back there? Car hacking. Good job. Here's $100,000. All right, come after. Here. Oh yeah, he's in the back, man. All right. Sorry, I don't want to. My wife told me these wouldn't hurt anyone, so I went with these. But Oh, okay. Wow, we got the wrong one. Okay. Anyways. That's right. Last year, in March of last year, a couple of security researchers published a proof of concept in which they demonstrated how Flipper Zero-powered evil portal attacks spoofing the Wi-Fi at Tesla superchargers could potentially allow attackers to gain access to the account of a socially engineered Tesla owner, from which an attacker could add their phone as a new key and thereby steal the car. Because Tesla, if you don't know, Teslas, you can use your phone as a proxy, and once they got into the account, they could steal the car. Kind of a cool proof of concept, right? But as I'm kind of regularly I preach risk-based cybersecurity. Just because something is possible doesn't mean that it's likely. But unfortunately, this proof of concept came out right in the middle of a car theft crisis in Canada. Sorry, a little low.
Augustins promise you'll be able to say to the major meetings tomorrow. Please stop famous.
So you can see how the Flip of Zero, especially after this proof of concept was published, looked like the perfect scapegoat for Canadian politicians desperate to look like they were doing something to help solve the problem. Now, as Texans, you might be thinking, well, wouldn't catching and arresting the car thieves be a solution? Yeah, but, they put gravy on French fries up there. It's just a whole different world. So, and to be fair, my own personal experience, by my own personal experience, SAPD isn't really doing much to catch car thieves either. Even if they steal a moving truck with all your personal belongings in it, ask me how I know. All right, so what also didn't help is that there are a bunch of fake hacker cloud chasers on YouTube greatly exaggerating or just straight up lying the Flipper Zero's capabilities.
Patch for Flipper Zero.
Red light patch? It's a patch. Not a module or firmware, it's a patch. And think of that, it turned green just as he was pointing his Flipper Zero at it. Okay, so now for another $100,000, who can tell me the name of the most common IR traffic light system for emergency vehicles? No one? Opticom, I think. Let me see, I have it written down here. Opticom. No, so that's all right. It operates at 10 to 15. We know that it operates between 10 to 15 hertz. There's a signal generator that technically, if you use, like in theory, if you use this like IR blaster and maybe enough power, if you could get more power. I don't think it's possible with the existing configuration, but in theory, it could be possible if you set it to the right hertz, maybe magnify it or something, but he's certainly not doing that. Okay. So we got to move on. Let's talk about evil portals. I'm sure y'all have seen Wi-Fi capture portals at hotels, airports, fast food joints, among other places. So how can they be weaponized and turned evil? Well, whether you're a malicious threat actor or an ethical researcher trying to collect real-world data, you're not going to make it obvious by naming the access pointer SSID malicious or adding scary iconography to the portal. No, you'll want to make it as realistic and legitimate looking as possible. Here are my two most successful evil portals. Basically, they're just fake. I'm capturing the user input, and it doesn't even connect someone to the internet, which I'll talk later. It kind of actually drives some pretty interesting behaviors. But there are many pre-built, like out-of-the-box evil portals that people can use for Google, Microsoft, Facebook, all the major airlines. But I custom-made the Holland America one. I'm not really like HTML coder. I just you just basically have to take the image. I took the existing one and put the image I wanted into image to base 64, converter, throw that text into it, and it's fairly easy. So I custom built that Holland America one for inner passage cruise that my wife and I and her family did, and I caught a whopping 17 unwitting test subjects in just 4 days of testing. I kind of got bored. I just kept it in my pocket at dinner or at the shows that we went to, and it was kind of just, I just thought I got enough. I thought I'd done enough testing during that cruise. It was like an 8-day cruise, but I only did half of it. Okay, so some of you might be thinking right now, is during this, even like for ethical, research, legal? First, I'm not an attorney. And while state laws differ, there's state and federal laws, but after a careful reading of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, social engineering people to get them to disclose sensitive information and not using it in any malicious way is an activity within my own personal risk tolerance threshold. So your mileage may vary, but the good news is I get paid too much to do anything malicious with this. But I would invite you to consider that there are plenty of other legal tools that use active measures to identify and even publicly disclose sensitive details about potential targets. For $100,000, this is an easy one. For $100,000, can anyone tell me what this tool is? Oh, someone's gonna know.
Let's shoot on.
There you go. I kind of edited it, but that's Jodan. Now, for another $100,000, can someone tell me how? You notice on the left, I got CDE details. How can some users, for free, be able to search Shodan based on CVE? Anyone know how you can get that capability for free?
Easy. Register for a free account and then use search filters.
No, it's not a feature available for the free account. There's this trick. We're at a university. Woot says it. There you go. Sorry, there's something over. So if you have a .edu email address, just get a free academic upgrade. You can search by CV. It's pretty cool. There are other tools besides the Flipper Zero capable of doing this. Another $100,000 who can name that other tool. Yep, the Wi-Fi Pineapple. Has anyone experienced doing evil poll attack specifically or anything else on the Wi-Fi Pineapple? Do you find it user-friendly? No, it's really finicky, right? And that's what a lot of people who without experience in InfoSec don't realize is that they make it look really good the one time it works on YouTube, right? But it's very finicky. I tried using it. The advantage to the Wi-Fi Pineapple is that you have multiple interfaces. You can connect to the actual internet and filter them. You can act as an evil twin and actually filter them to the correct Wi-Fi that they're trying to get to, right?
Yeah, we use it for when we're doing wireless audits. So we put up local bands to see what ranges are.
Yeah, but for me, it was so much easier just to bring the Flipper Zero, and it was more reliable, and I just liked it better. There are different firmwares. I believe I'm using the Extreme for the demo, which we're going to do right now. I've also used Unleash, and I think the regular one. Like my pull card, for whatever reason, my HOA pull card will not work with Extreme, but it works with the out of the default firmware, the OG or whatever, OEM firmware. So live demo, I'm going to go ahead and switch to that right now, if you'll bear with me here. Let's make this a little bigger if I can, or all right, you see that? All right, so I'm going to go to Apps, Wi-Fi, Evil Portal, set IP name. I did this at Walmart last, so let's go ahead. Got no one, by the way, while I was getting my haircut. But we'll change it to BSides. So yeah, Google is kind of my go-to. It works really well. I'll just keep it like that, even though it's not going to be Google. Save, and let's see if this works. I'm feeling adventurous. I just did BSides 1, so let's see if that works. Ears, make it a little bit easier. Obviously, it's only some limitations. It's only 2.4 gigahertz, not 5. And obviously, it's got the power that it's got. Oh, whoops. I select HTML and it started. Okay, start portal. And you should be able to, it rebooted. Yeah, see, Sometimes the custom ones don't work so well because they. So let's set a different. Let's just go to the Google one or American Airlines. Yep, that's working. Yeah, so I built a custom. I built a custom one that said BSides, and it says please be professional. So this is going to be public, so don't do anything too inappropriate so that we don't lose the ability to do live demos in the future when someone complains. All right, so let's make this bigger. So client connected just means that they haven't entered anything in, they just connected. If you have a Samsung or iPhone, sometimes the capture portal, I haven't been able to figure how to get it up. Someone else, there you go. Hi, Francis. And it's a secret password. Thanks, Francis. So if you can't get on your phone, feel free to show the person next to you. This is benign, so long as you don't put in any sensitive information. Right? It's up to you how good of a secret you want to tell me. Let's wait for maybe one more. Someone else wants to share something. I see. Oh, they'll advertise some guerrilla marketing here for ICS Squared Alamo chapter. I did give us, if you were there, I did give us a shortened version of this presentation to them. So thank you for ICS Squared Alamo chapter. They're a great group. All right, let's go back to our presentation here. All right, so sometimes people figure it out. I started to do this shortly after the proof of concept was developed. I said, I got to get this. I was asked to serve as the white cell for the cybersecurity portion of a military exercise. So I was what they called the lead artifact developer. I helped basically put together, find PCAPs, like with malicious, and put different things together, like little clues for the blue team to work on during the exercise. So I thought, someone could do this. Let's do an evil portal attack. And I think this was at like the officers club on base. Someone knew what I was doing. Say, I know you're doing, Myler. And then that one there, nobody cares about your spam at gmail.com. They realized this was on the cruise ship. I think after this was like day 3, I think sometime after this, I decided, okay, I'm just going to stop doing it on the cruise ship anymore. Someone figured out that it at least wasn't legit. Val Surf suggests that they might be from California. It's a great surf shop. All right. So what do you think of your most stereotypical social engineering victim? Who do you think would be most susceptible? Go ahead. I have some new people. Anyone. It really is. Okay, anyone ask that easy answer. But who would you mostly think? Yeah. Older people. Yeah, you'd think old people, less familiar with technology. My mom I didn't even tell my wife this. My mom literally called yesterday because she clicked on a malicious link and was like, oh, my Facebook's locked. And I'm like, what does the URL say? Pressure.kzkz. Anyways, just restart the computer and delete the thing. I kind of talked about virus total as you could put the URL in and it popped. So yeah, we'll mostly think of older people. All right. I can't own new technology. I'm getting there. I have 5 kids, so I'm just saying. But you'd be surprised. Out of the 48 people I was able to test subjects across 8 months. I've been doing this for a year, but I took a break for like 4 months. I didn't touch it; just collected dust. So I only counted the 8 months. The average age is 34, and you can see by decade it's the 30s. People in their 30s that were the most common test subject. Millennials, you win. Congratulations for being the most addicted. Anyone know the name of that movie for $100,000? Clueless. Oh, sorry, I'm a bad. I do cybersecurity better than I thought. I swear. All right. All right. So how do I find out the demographics of my test subjects? Well, OSINT, open source intelligence. These are some of the tools I used. Dhashed is a paid one, and It's really powerful. You can search by email. That's another one, kind of like Shodan. Pay for it. I encourage everyone to pay for it for 1 week. You can just do I think a day or a week, and see how powerful it is. Just enter in your email, enter in people's emails, enter in passwords. So who's familiar with the ransomware group that recently got the most recent ransomware group leak? Most recent. It was Conti. I actually presented here I did my independent analysis of a Conti ransomware leaks. I'll give you a hint. It's been around for the longest. Lockbit, yeah. There you go. All right. So, Lockbit had this leak. I'm actually currently doing another independent analysis on that. And included were the user names and clear text passwords. And some of them look like passwords you would use for the same email. You know what I mean? Like something you would memorize, not random. And I actually did some persona analysis on using dehashed. But you'd be surprised how much Pinterest came up. It was useful because people use the same first part of your email address. Because they gave me their email address, right? Sometimes clues run the passwords, but the email address was pretty useful. And sometimes I could not find anything, but then all of a sudden I'd see the exact same really weird, unique thing for Pinterest. And it would help me find out where they are or confirm that they are who I thought they were. I was able to find the vast majority of people using OSINT. Some not, but the vast majority. So here's some impressive test subjects. I caught a pediatrician cardiologist in his 30s, female system engineer in her 30s. I blurred out the company name on the laptop, as you can see. Northrop Grumman, yeah. So a med student in his 20s. Also, I think he's like a track and field athlete as well. That's why I put that. And an attorney in her 20s. The fun fact about the med student, he got a near perfect score on his SAT. So he's no dummy, but he still fell for it. Some other people because I'm in the military, I happen to be around them a lot. The first person I actually ever caught was a member of the blue team at military exercise. I was playing with it. We were all out to dinner, and I was doing it in the lobby while we were waiting, or the foyer while we were waiting. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the first person I caught. I was so excited. I caught someone. I look up her Gmail address, and she's one of our blue team, one of the 2 blue team members for the exercise. I caught a total of 13 service members of various occupations, 1 Army guy, and 12 Air Force people. And I didn't catch them all. I caught them at places like Urban Air and that restaurant. I was there for a kid's birthday party, and I caught a military person. So I use AI, so I love how, if you don't know, we wear ties. So once you get to a chief, you put a tie underneath your ABUs. And there were some military or DOD related. This is a big DOD community Jeff is not impressed. These people, if you don't know, DOD members all go through every year a cyber awareness training. And it's led by our friend Jeff here. So you would hope that, but the cyber awareness training doesn't really cover evil portals. So maybe we should add that. I don't know. Here's some other people. A CEO, a network engineer in her 40s, who is a certified ethical hacker. So the title is not just clickbait. I did hack hackers. Certified ethical hacker. She's Sec Plus. I forget this. I don't know this other one too well, but this senior leader of an IT company in his 50s, and cyber both. So I put these. There's kind of duplicate here because it was easier than. I think I ran out of ChatGPT image generation. So. They were very, very similar, these 2 people. One focused on offense, one focused on defense. One had CCNA, the other had a Sec Plus networking one, and they were both senior NCOs. I won't tell them who you are if they don't try to get me in trouble. I won't. But, so what's the main takeaway here? It's not to shame these people. It's simply to say, sometimes we're in a hurry. We all make mistakes. Even well-trained people who you'd think would not fall for this have fallen for it. Here's some interesting behaviors. Some passwords, some really bad passwords. the university and the year that they graduated really made it a lot easier for OSINT to find, or their first name and the year that they were born, or the year I think that was the year that they were born. And then the fact that you'd think like, oh, people would catch on if they enter their information and it doesn't connect to the internet. Well, some people are really determined. They will just give me every variation they've ever used of that password. So if you can see that, yeah. All right. So how do we mitigate it, right? If I'm not against, I'm a cybersecurity trainer in the Air Force. I'm a 62443 trainer for the International Society of Automation. I'm pro training. I'm not pro training. I'm just saying don't put all your eggs in one basket. And training is maybe not even the most effective tool in many instances. So people like KnowBe4, they offer great services, but they're also the ones that will. Part of my InfoSec influencers chat is, have anyone heard that like 95% of cyber attacks are created by phishing or start from phishing or social engineering? It's false, completely false. It comes from, I traced it back. So these things sometimes will, the problem is that executives, they trust what they hear. They just assume what I'm hearing the most is what I need to be doing. And those vendors, those trainer vendors are very good at pushing false statistics, regurgitating false statistics. It's been regurgitated by like the World Economic Forum and stuff like that. So, and even CISA, I found like CISA, Splunk, many people, you can see that on my Cyber Milers channel. I've got a video about that. But anyways, this is besides the point. So I really like this analysis by CISA. They do it every year. I had to update this because the last one was back in September for fiscal year 2023, I believe. They analyzed 143 cyber vulnerability and risk assessments conducted by CISA and by the U.S. Coast Guard, and looked at trends as to what they found, that what you can expect, the techniques you can expect attacker to use across the attack, what they call the attack path. The attack path is 11 tactics loosely based on Myler's attack framework. And so you can see here, like more than any other technique, the abuse of valid accounts is used by far. No technique comes close to the use of abuse of valid accounts. So to fit it all and make it viewable, I took the various paths, like initial access, it's 41.28. Obviously, that's a really important one because they need access first to do anything, right? And then as they go through the different stages of the attack, they continue to rely. I think we have time. Do you have a question or comment?
Yeah. So are we talking about it like in a breach scenario, or are we talking about it like a...
So these are based, I think, what the analysts did was they looked at the vulnerabilities that they found in their vulnerability risk assessment and identified which ones are most likely to be leveraged and exploited in an attack across those. So granted, because this is focused on U.S. Coast Guard and CISA, this information is slightly biased in favor of critical infrastructure sectors that they give the most attention to. So my guess would be transportation, especially maritime with the U.S. Coast Guard, defense industrial base, energy, and water and wastewater sectors. But still, I think it's very interesting information. So what's the mitigation? Along with this, they provided mitigations. What is, besides training? Training is good, but what are mitigations? Anyone for $100,000?
You could,
but
you could geofence.
Geofencing.
You can geofence the login. You can do multi-factor if you're not using the phone. Specifically, not using SMS.
SMS, yeah. SMS is the weakest. But mind you, if SMS is the easiest way for an employer to get everyone using two-factor authentication, they decide, well, what if people don't have, they don't have the authenticator app, whatever. It's better that they do have SMS than two-factor authentication is not, right? So I agree. It's true. It's a fact that because of SIM swapping, right, that there's a risk of that, but it's certainly better than nothing. It keeps you from being a low-hanging fruit. Two-factor, I think I mixed up my slides. So let's talk a little bit about phishing, which is a common way for people to get credentials, to leak their credentials. So this is a sneak preview. I've submitted I should find out in the next day or tomorrow whether or not I'm speaking in Taiwan. I found in my research that Taiwan seems to be disproportionately targeted by at least Lockbit ransomware affiliates because them in China, also there's some interesting stuff about China in there, they just pay. They pay, so they have learned who pays and who doesn't. So here is this one's not from China though. This is, I think, in the Philippines, a financial institution. They ended up paying $40,000, but you can see here this is. I know that this is what the chat looks like because in some, at least on the affiliates, on the Lockbit affiliates hackers end, because they got frustrated. They said, it'll be $20,000 if you pay by this date, and then like a week, like well beyond that date, they're like, could we still honor the same price? Like, you forgot the terms, the conditions. And then they sent a screenshot that a URL for a screenshot that you can still go to and see that this is basically what it looks like on their end, the UI, at least for the chat. So I used that I filled it in. I don't have this for everyone. I kind of did my own little poor man's PowerPoint graphics design. But so there's the chat, and he said we got to you through phishing. A big one is to also having the admin on the domain. And then here's another victim. Both of these are from Christopher. That's kind of who I've focused on. Christopher was really targeting Taiwan. So here's one from Taiwan just a couple months ago in April. That's a manufacturer in Taiwan. They ended up paying, I think the original ransom was $100K. That's not $10K. Original ransom was $100K, and they ended up paying $60K. Which as a percentage of the revenue, actually, the manufacturer, this is like a smaller financial institution, so they actually paid a high. I also am calculating the percentage of they paid based on annual revenue, because from the Conti ransomware leaks, I found out that they are really focused on, they use like Zoom info, I think it is, to understand the revenue, annual revenue, to make their initial ransom demand as a portion of that. Anyways, so they actually paid to sell it being. They're actually decided the $40,000 is being less for the financial institution. They actually paid more as a percentage of their estimated annual revenue. Sometimes it's public, sometimes it isn't. Okay, so risk mitigation. What are the means? We mentioned two-factor authentication. $400,000. Someone new. Sorry, guys. What is the picture on the right there depicting? It's an IBM video, YouTube video. It says FIDO. We're currently on FIDO 2, but what's the common name for it? YubiKeys. So I'm taking this. That's not exactly what this is describing. Software version of a YubiKey. A virtual version. Think of virtual. Is that passkey? Someone said it. Passkey. That was a good throw. And on a high note. That was a good throw. All right. So, passkeys. For those of you who might be skeptical, passkeys, from what I can tell, I invite you to watch that IBM. It is a more convenient two-factor authentication. You're using your device as something you have and your biometrics. So I'm a fan of passkeys as well as two-factor authentication, whether it be hardware-based or not. So that, I think I left a good amount of time, actually, for some questions. Any questions, comments? We can go back to the live demo, see if anyone else has been playing around.
How much is your Wi-Fi module for your cost? What is the range?
Singularity Cyber. How much did what? Oh, it's, I don't remember. Maybe, anyone know? It's like maybe $50 or something, or $70. Yeah, I bought it from the official Flipper Zero store. They started selling them, I think, at $169. Now they're up at $200 for just the base Flipper Zero. And I've got some other. So I have two of them, so I can kind of simultaneously test on two different firmwares. So I've got
those out.
a sub-gigahertz extender. There's also this works really well with RFID. This is the Chameleon Ultra. It's really small. So I got this mostly as a proof of concept for training people in critical infrastructure. I could keep this under my shirt, and if you have your thing hanging and I have this right below my shirt hanging at the same level, I'm short, right? So maybe I put it on. Give them a hug, and this works very fast for RFID. It's kind of clunky for NFC, but the people I was training, the large critical infrastructure facility I was training, their cards was RFID, and so I was able to demonstrate that. This is the multi-pass, which is those traditional mag stripe. One thing I found interesting on the cruise, I didn't have this with me. I'd known about it, but I unfortunately didn't have it with me at the time. The cruise, I don't know if other people besides Holland America does this, but they will provide your room key card just sitting outside the room. That's they've determined that's the most efficient way. So if someone and they use this traditional mag swipe. So if they switch to NFC or if not all NFC, by the way, like credit cards, they're encrypted, divided technology won't work. Some hotel cards won't work as well. So, so I hypothetically, I always have that evil bit set in my head. Someone could swipe cards because you don't even need to fiddle with the Flipper Zero. You just buy a USB card swiper, swipe it, and then save that for later. Save it as the room number and do your Flipper Zero stuff, prep your Flipper Zero stuff later. Any other questions? Yeah.
I got a two-part question. So for your flippers, you had mentioned earlier which one was your favorite firmware.
That was that's got to be my wife or something. Thank you very much for the compliment. Sorry, what was the question?
He said you had mentioned which one was your favorite firmware for flipper.
So it's hard. I like Extreme. This can do. I think I got Evil Portals working on the OEM firmware, the original firmware, but it doesn't show up. I can see on the screen. With Extreme, I can see as I'm getting test subjects come in with their user presenter. The other one I can't. So I like Extreme, but like I said, I had this pool card. I couldn't figure out why it just wasn't supported, and it currently is supported under the OEM. Someone did a module, but it isn't on Extreme yet. So it just kind of depends what you're using it for. You might find one firmware works better for the garage door openers or for the sub-gigahertz than the other one. The OEM has made the original firmware has made a lot of progress. They have a lot of modules. So I would kind of play with OEM and Extreme, but I kind of like Extreme, at least for Evil Portals.
Okay. And since you mentioned OEM, I would imagine in the open library, there's probably been a lot of users that's been customizing firmware used to add features or take away, make it a little bit more diverse.
Yeah. I mean, the open source community is incredible. For one, I'll give you an example. You can upload just the files. I haven't done this yet on my GitHub. I should, but I've got a bunch of remotes for air conditioners that I've ran for weird things, right? So I was thinking I should put that on GitHub so that someone who might have this old remote and lost it, and someone wants to charge like $100 for it on eBay, if they want to buy a $200 Flipper Zero, they could use that file. So other people have uploaded. So the call systems, there's like a call button in some places like CVS and Walgreens. You push a button that says customer service needed in the cosmetics department. People have uploaded those individual files, and there's one evil one that just goes through every department. With permission, like I said, I'm an ethical hacker. With permission, I did one at my local Walgreens, and actually, maybe I told them after the fact. They were confused, but I told them, and I bought something to make them feel better about it. They were confused because they actually removed the system. Their call buttons are no longer in there, but they left the underlying system, server in there. And so they're like, "What? I've never heard that in a year or so." Anyways, so your question was basically about the community, right? Yeah. Now some some might be picked up by one firmware before another one. So it depends what you want, what new capability you're looking for. I got a couple more minutes. I ended actually early. I was worried I wasn't going to have enough time. Yes.
Have you ever like caught somebody what you're doing and approach you?
They haven't approached me. No, because that's a great thing about. Obviously, I was caught at one slide. Demonstrated. Someone knew it was me. I probably told them and showed them what I was doing. By the way, like I have had. I don't want to call anyone out. I had senior leadership. I'd asked permission to do this in my own squadron. Fortunately, no one got caught. But I do get permission sometimes if I'm in a kind of a sensitive environment. But no, it's because it's so discreet, right? That's the word I'm looking for. You just put it in your pocket, put it in your backpack, and they have to be pretty close by. I was going to put my picture. I supported a military exercise in Hawaii recently, and I got a lot of people on the flight from Hawaii to DFW. And I took a night. I don't really hide it I took a picture of it on top of the seat with all the people in the background. I was doing American Airlines is what I was trying then. I put it up intentionally when I go to airports. I put it up high. I want, to try. I use it most of this research just to see the demographics of people who were susceptible to this. But two, to kind of attract fellow hackers. If someone recognizes what it is, so I was doing it at a restaurant in Hawaii while I was there, and someone was like, "Is that a Pupazoo?" And he was a young college student. I told him about it, and it was a interesting conversation we had. So, but no one's successfully identified. Like said, "Hey, you just." I just put my information in, looked around when it didn't work, and I see you delete my information. Anyways, any other questions? Yeah, we have a couple more minutes. Otherwise, we can cut early. Yeah, in the back.
How do you defer the demographics?
So I use open source intelligence, that one slide with all the different tools, dhash. So, but to elaborate a little bit, I'll start with their email address and just, you can just in parentheses, I look for the exact email address, or sometimes a lot of times it's first dot last name. And if it's a lot of people, have professional email addresses, and that's what they primarily use as their primary email address. Just search especially if it's a unique. Or, I can use where I caught them as an indication, you know what I mean? Or in Seattle, I did it at, what's it called? Pike's Place, right? So like, okay, if I find someone with that name, I'm going to start with Seattle. And I'm pretty good at OSINT. that one slide, I will find you. I have skills. But it is hard. It gets harder when you have a common name. Or maybe you don't have anything sensitive like a university in your password or something like that. Yeah.
So touching on to your OT
background, Secretary. So do you see any risk at future of say a spot or something like that in our crowd using a similar tool to NJ networks? Then you have to be walking around. Whereas Europe, say something similar in
So in critical infrastructure, Wi-Fi generally is not used for critical processes. I had a train. I was working a train project in Canada actually, and they were so obsessed about Wi-Fi. But the only thing, it was WPA2 encrypted. They assured me that the password was long and unique. And the only thing it's used for is when the train goes into the depot, it removes the logs. Trouble logs and counts and stuff like that for at the end of the day. So I said, if you're confident, I had to caveat it, but they're worried about brute forcing. No, if it's a truly unique, if it's not, if it's a truly unique password and it's long, no one's going to do an offline brute. You can see the things. It takes thousands of years to brute force. So what they do is they use dictionary tags. So anyways, to answer your question, it's something that should be considered. But there's typically a lot, and especially in critical infrastructures, this train had they're obsessed about the Wi-Fi. It had no network access controls. I was able if I can sneak in and the equipment, the door was using a generic maintainer's key that anyone can buy off of Amazon. So if I planted in a travel Wi-Fi router and just plugged it in, the only tricky thing was it's industrial Ethernet, not your RJ45 connection. You just screw it in. And it gave me an IP address, and I was able to do a denial of service attack and force the train to a stop. So, but even then, you have to contextualize and that risk. If someone really wanted to force, if the end impact was a forced stop of the train, they could have just rent or steal, because that's really popular in Canada. Rent or steal a truck and just park it. It's above. It was a surface level light rail. They could just drive it onto the track. I assess that's more likely than someone taking the risk of dressing up like an employee, implanting something, and then doing the attack. So yeah, generally it is something that needs to be considered. But I find most critical infrastructure systems and networks have higher things that are prioritized. Well, thank you very much. We'll get ready for the next person. Thank you. I am LinkedIn. Yeah, I am on LinkedIn, enclavedefense.com, or find Cyber Mylers on YouTube.